Obviously, you have the election coming up. We talk about that all the time. Hopefully you're aware of that. If you're not, oh, wow, Lord help you. But you get all these town halls and you get these different networks, left, right. They're mostly left, of course, but you get these networks going around and asking people about issues. What matters to you? You know, who they choose on this, who they choose on that. Well, they had a town hall, MSNBC did, and they asked people to respond to their feelings on the events of January 6th and how it impacted them or didn't, how it would play into their vote or won't. Take a look.
Level of interest in the criminal charges and so forth.
February 6th?
January 6th.
So I remember that day. I know he was the standing president. I'm not familiar with the charges that are being brought against him for that. I'm not following that charge I know there's multiple court cases going on. I'm just not familiar with it.
I mean, that doesn't sound like it's going to be a factor in deciding who to vote for.
No.
Okay, so when I say January 6th, what do you think?
Oh, I just remember seeing it on the news, like all the riots and stuff. Don't really know what it was about or what happened, though.
How did it make you feel when you saw it?
I don't know. I don't really feel any way about it. People showed their emotion, I guess. Probably in the wrong way, but it happened.
This is a perfect example, this clip here. We talk about politicians and the media being out of touch. This is a perfect example of that disconnect, right, between the mainstream media, who are just simply proxies of the left and the establishment, and everyday Americans, people who are out there just going about their life. These guys have pushed this rhetoric, this narrative. This was the worst day, the darkest day in history since the Civil War started, all of that kind of stuff, right? And they push that, and they think that everyone's listening and agreeing. But they're just not. There are some, we all know some people who still bring this up all the time. But a lot of people just don't really care about that or about so many other things. They care about their everyday lives. They care about the economy. They care about the border, illegal immigration, so many other things. They care about the prospect of sending their sons and daughters to fight in wars that we shouldn't be involved in overseas. There's multiple ones right now. They care about all these things. I thought it was remarkable. And, she's like, son of a, like, no one cares about this. We've told you to care about it for so long.
Where's the person we paid to sit in the audience to answer this question?
Right. And we only showed parts of it. I'm sure there were people who, of course, took the opposite tact. But if you're the MSNBC producer, and certainly that host, whatever her name is, it Wagner? Whatever her name is, I think it's Wagner. But you know that they're like, this is not going the way we want it to.
No, it's not. And this reminds me of like when you watch the old black and white movies of some British aristocracy guy who's funding an expedition to Africa. And they get down, this expedition gets down there to interact with the natives, and they come back and they're like, oh my, the natives are a lot more amiable than we thought they were going to be. It is so weird. They haven't heard of anything that we're doing of that we propose to build, like the railroad through their country. It's such a weird disconnect, because when you live inside a bubble, like a lot of the people in the media do, they believe they're pushing this narrative, January 6th being worst thing to happen to democracy since the Civil War. Once you're in that mindset and you keep repeating it, you think everybody else feels the same way you do because everybody around you is parroting the same things that you are. But the American people, for the most part, aren't dumb. So if January 6th was as big as Pearl Harbor, 9/11, the Civil War, the American people would have a natural guttural instinct knowing that it was bad, not having to be told by the media of how bad it was.
Whether you live at the beach, are going to one, or just want to imagine yourself there, Red Beach Nation has the comfy, patriotic apparel for the occasion. Founded by a former counterterrorism officer and war veteran of both the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, Red Beach Nation is committed to upholding the American values and principles that we all hold so dear. So grab your swag and rep the nation. Visit redbeachnation.com and use the promo code on your screen to save 10% off. Again, that's redbeachnation.com.